Hello, welcome to the demonstration of the Nonprofit Public Charities online filing portal demonstration. My name is Amy Bryson. I am the Charities Compliance Manager for the Nonprofit Charities Division, and I'll be walking you through how to use our filing portal and familiarizing you with the different ways you can use the portal to file your annual reports and new registrations. On your screen, you can see that we have some basic information for you. The charity portal use was mandated as of September 1st, 2023. So we are no longer accepting any paper filings or registrations. Currently, you can use the charity portal to submit filings, new registrations, filings, Schedule A2, which would be considered part of new registrations, and submitting updated corporate documents. And you can do all of that through our portal website, which is mass.gov/charity portal. And I will touch on all of those things in more detail as we proceed. On the filing portal page, you will find the registration e-form, information on how to set up your charity portal account, a lot of training videos, charity portal FAQs, and there is also dedicated support within the charity portal, which I'll also touch on as well. So the best resource for you to get started with is going to be mass.gov/charity portal. So that is where we are going to start. And on our website, you can see we have a ton of information. We have, of course, first a link to the charity portal. And then what can be submitted through the charity portal is our initial charity registration e-form. This is for groups that are registering for the first time with our office. You can also submit annual filings known as the Form PC. You can do payments for your initial charity registration and annual filings. And you can also upload PDFs of additional documentation. So that would be address updates, revised governing documents like articles or bylaws. You, as of right now, cannot submit through the charity portal fundraiser filings, dissolution requests, notices such as A-Day notices or bead notices, or probate information. I will say it is worth checking on our website for this information to be updated, because in the future, we do hope to move more of our business onto the portal. So we will update that as needed. So the first thing, how do I get started on the charity portal? There are a few different ways that you're going to get started. You do need to create a portal account, which we will go into more detail on. You also can find training videos here for how to submit a registration, how to create an account in the portal, starting a Form PC, obtaining signatures, and making payment. So we are actually going to touch on that, on all of these things in this longer video. But if you're just looking for targeted information, these little short training videos are going to be really helpful for you. And we do have a ton of resources here. We also have an FAQ document, and we have instructions for e-filers and signers. And we always encourage everybody to use these resources that we have available for you, because they will answer pretty much any question that you have. So if you do run into difficulty, checking these resources should be your first step. So what we're going to start with is how to register with the AGO for the first time. And when we say that, we do mean literally when your organization is registering with our office. This doesn't mean registering for a portal account or creating a portal account. We're talking about a new registration for a group that maybe just got started. And that's where you would start with our office. You actually do not need a portal account in order to submit a registration. The reason for this is that sometimes we do receive registration requests from groups that are not considered to be charitable. So you might submit a registration and then you hear back from us to let you know that you don't have to register with us. And so in that case, we don't necessarily want you to have created a portal account and gone through that if you don't actually need to. So what you're going to do, sorry, my screen is blocked a little bit. So I'm just going to change my screen settings. Okay, so when you're registering for the first time, the first thing that you want to do, and this is really important, is check to see if your group is already registered. The main way that you can tell that is, does your group have an Attorney General account number? So if you're not sure whether your group has a number, you want to click on where it says, unsure if your charity is already registered, please search here. So this is going to take you to our public charities search page. It's going to take just a second to load. And this page is super helpful because, first of all, it can tell you if you're already registered, but it also is the page where filings that are submitted to us are made available to the public. All of the filings with our office are public record, and this is where you would find them. When we are searching in the context of trying to find out if an organization is registered, you want to search by charity name contains. You can also search by AG number and employer identification number. So if you want to see if your group is registered, the group I'm going to search by is a group that we use specifically for these demos, and it's called Golden Retriever Rescue. So you can just type in part of the name. I'm just going to type in Golden RET just so that you can see that we might get multiple results. In this case, there are a few groups that contain Golden Retriever because it's not even just groups that start with that. It's any group that contains that search information. So I'm going to select Golden Retriever Rescue, which is our demo charity. And you can see here that it will tell us our AG account number, which is 080000. So this is the group we'll be working with primarily today during the demo. But so you can see if you search by name that it will reveal that we do have an account number. So in this case, we would not want to submit a new registration submission for Golden Retriever Rescue. So if you are searching for your group and you determine that you don't have to, or that you do have to submit a registration, you don't find anything for your name, you're going to go to where it says submit a registration e-form available here. And when you click on that, you are going to find the registration e-form, which again, like I mentioned, you don't need to be signed into the portal to submit this form. So it's a fairly simple form. It's going to ask you for general information about your organization, contact info. And because this is filed outside of the portal, you do have to complete this whole form all in one sitting. We do have a save and close function, which I'll show you more about for the Form PCs, but we don't have that for the registration form. So I am going to bounce to a form that I've already started completing. And so you can see the name of the charity I've selected is Amy's Demo Charity. I've filled in the basic info, address, phone number, all of that. When you get to the end of a section, you just hit next and it will take you to the next section. You also can click through these sections over on the left. So I've filled in most of the info. And the section that I want to show you in particular is in the IRS data section. There are a couple questions that we ask that are going to inform what supporting documents need to be attached. So one of those fields is the type of organization. So in this case, we have corporation, unincorporated, trust, or other. So I'm going to select corporation here. And also on this section, I have filled in the information where we ask, has the organization applied for or been granted IRS status, tax exempt status? I have indicated that yes, we have received it under section 501c3, which most of the groups that are registered with us will be a 501c3, and I've indicated the date of a determination letter. So because of that information that I have put in, when I go to the supporting documents section, it is asking me for articles of organization, copy of the bylaws, a copy of the IRS letter, and those are required, as you can see by the red asterisk next to it. And then there's also a spot for an optional attachment. If I change any of the information in this IRS data, if I change from a corporation to unincorporated association, and then I go back to supporting documents, you can see that the upload request has changed. So now it's asking for either organization charter, agreement of association, or written purpose of statement. You can see none of those are marked as required because for an unincorporated group, there might be different types of documents that would be governing documents. But we do have the bylaws and the IRS letter still as required because I did indicate in the IRS data that we did have our IRS determination already. If you indicate there that you have not received that yet, then we won't ask you for that letter as a required field. So when you do have to attach documents, it's very easy. You just click on where it says upload files. It's going to take just a second. I have a document that I use that I call upload document that I'm just going to attach. You'll see me use this document throughout the demo to attach things. It takes just a second, and then it will tell you that the upload is done. And you just want to make sure that you upload a document for each of these required fields so that when we review these filings, we have all the information that we need in order to determine if the organization does need to register and file with us. So once we've uploaded our documents, then we go to our form submission and we have to submit, and it's going to take just a second. And what happens after you submit your registration is that it is reviewed by our staff. Although we do use an online portal now, we are not fully automated, meaning that we don't have, all of the forms are still reviewed by humans, basically. So our staff still works diligently as they did when we had paper to review these filings. And you will hear from our office to let you know that you have been registered and that to let you know what you need to file with us. And that would include a $100 registration fee, and it may include filings or back filings. So that is the registration portion. And you can see in this email that you will get this email once you submit. Thank you for submitting your initial registration. It can take several weeks. And so a charity specialist will reach out to you. So basically you'll get an email telling you what I just told you. And then you will hear specifically from one of our charity specialists, giving you your account number and telling you exactly what we need from you, whether it's a $100 registration fee plus a year or two of back filings, or if it is a Schedule A2 form, which would be related to a new organization that is registering for the first time and wants to solicit before their first filing is due with us. So we will tell you exactly what we need from you. So if you are looking to submit your annual filings, this is the point where you will need to create a charity portal account. So what you want to do, and here again, we have the link to the public charity search if you need to find your organization's AG number. You absolutely do want to have that AG number handy before you start your filing, because that is how you're going to access pretty much everything. So we have our charity portal link, and what you need to do in order to log into the portal, or sorry, to create a portal account, you can see here I already have this autofill. That is a browser setting. That's not a portal setting. So I'm using Chrome right now. That is generally the browser that seems to work the best for the portal. So we would recommend that if possible. So this is just a Chrome setting where I already have login info. But if you need to create an account, what you're going to do is once you're on this main login page, you're just going to hit where it says create a new user account. And when you do this, the first thing that you're going to have to do is enter your first name, last name, and an email address. So again, you can see Form PC Filer is the address that we use for demos. And so that is already filled in, again, because of Chrome browser settings. But you would just fill in your name, first and last, and then your email address. And this is super important. Whatever email address that you use to create this portal account, you need to make sure that you consistently use that same email address throughout the whole process of submitting a filing, or if you are a reviewer who's going to log in just to review a filing and sign off on it, you need to make sure that the e-filer knows the email address that you're going to use for your portal account. Because if you're someone who has a work email and a home email, if there's conflict there between it, if the e-filer maybe puts your work email, but you're logging into a portal account created with your home email, there's going to be a disconnect there. So you want to make sure whatever email you use for your portal account, that you're going to use that consistently. So obviously I already have a portal account, so I'm not going to complete that process of setting up an account, but I just want to show you, once you do enter your name and email, what you're going to get is this email right here that says welcome to the charity portal. And it's going to give you a link that you need to go to in order to set your password. So this is super important. The portal account setup really has 2 steps. So we just did step 1, you put in your name, address, and email address, then you get this and you have to click on this link to set your password. So again, because I already have one, that's not going to happen the same way that it would happen for a new user. But you just want to make sure that you do complete that step because you need to have that account. I'm just going to exit out of the couple of these extra windows that I have open. Okay, so once we have our account and we're ready to log in, you just enter the email address and the password and hit login. And this is going to take you to our main portal homepage. It's going to have your name up at the very top right. I am Form PC filer right now. And this is going to show you the different sections of the portal, which is going to allow you to do all the different things you can do in the portal. So the first section is annual charity filing, Form PC and attachments. This is the section where you're going to do your Form PC every year. This is the section that people are probably going to interact with the most. Below that, we have supplemental initial solicitation form, Schedule A2. This section should only be used if you have specifically been told by one of our charity specialists during the initial registration process that you need to submit this form, because the Schedule A2 form is only should only be submitted by a very limited amount of people in the time frame before their first PC filing is due, but if they want to solicit funds from the public. So that interaction with that section should be pretty limited. Then we have our payment section. This is where you will submit any payments that you owe to us, whether that would be the registration fee, the Schedule A2 fee, or the Form PC filing fee. And then we have our upload other documents section. We touched on that very briefly earlier. This would be the section that you would use for if your group has updated articles, bylaws, kind of anything miscellaneous that isn't specifically related to a Form PC filing. So if you ever do get a notice from our office, that we're missing an attachment to a Form PC filing, anything like that, you do not want to upload that in this section. In that case, you would want to use the Form PC section to edit the existing filing. So that's an important distinction. So we are going to click on our Manage Annual Filing Form PC section. And this is going to show us here, the first thing that we do is we're going to search by AG number. So when I mentioned that it's helpful to keep your AG number handy, this is why you're going to need that number to even get started with anything. So we have our AG number for our Golden Retriever Rescue group that we're going to be using. And we can search by that. It takes just a second to search. And you want to select the charity. You should receive only one result when you search by AG number, but you just want to make sure that you didn't make a typo or anything like that, because it will tell you the name of the group that comes up for that AG number. So you want to, step number one is kind of just make sure that you are looking at the right group. And then we hit Get Form PC Filings. And this page is going to show us kind of where we are in terms of what filings have been submitted, what filings are we working on, all of that. So the first section you can see, it says all submitted filings. A really important thing to keep in mind right now, especially if you're a group that has been filing with our office for a while, but this is your first time using the portal, filings that were submitted on paper do not show up in this section. So it's not all submitted filings, it's all submitted filings that were submitted on the portal. So don't panic if you're a group that's been around for years that has been filing paper Form PCs. Don't panic if you don't see anything listed in this section, because it does apply specifically to portal filings. Then you would see any filings that were awaiting payment would be in the pending payment section. And then we have the active filing section. So you can see right here, I do have one in progress filing. We are going to go back to that in a minute. So I can show you what that looks like. But the first thing I want to show you is how to create a filing. So as you can see right here at the very bottom of this page, we have a section that says create a new Form PC. Please select the fiscal year end from the drop-down menu below. That is a really important thing to note, is that we want you to always use the fiscal year end date when you're selecting the fiscal year for your filing. And what we mean by that is if your organization has a fiscal year that is anything other than a calendar year, then your filing will start in one calendar year and end in another. And we want you to always use the end date to when you select to create your account. So if you have a June fiscal year end, that would mean that your most recent fiscal year started in July of 2023 and ends in June of 2024. So you would want to make sure to select 2024 from our drop-down list. So then you hit start, and then it's going to take you to our Form PC page. Oh, we do get a pop-up that's letting us know if multiple people are logged into the same account, changes could be lost. And that is an important thing to bring up because portal accounts can be shared. Specifically, third-party filers usually use those. So if it's a law firm, a CPA firm, it is possible to have a shared account within the firm. And so if you have multiple people maybe working on the same client, you just want to make sure that you're not working on the same filing for the same client at the same time. So that's what that warning is about. So once we log in, you can see the filing year is filled in with what we selected on that first page. Our AG number, federal ID number, and name of the organization are already filled in. And then all of the information that we're asking for on this portal filing, on this e-form, it's all the same information that we've always asked for on the Form PC. If you are familiar with the Form PC, you know it is a pretty robust form. It's multiple pages, and all of that information we are also asking for here on the digital form. So don't be intimidated by it. It is long, but there are certain questions that if they don't apply to you, you won't even have to answer those, or you won't have to provide any more information on those. So the first thing I want to note is that we do have a lot of required fields, and you can see any of those are marked by an asterisk. What you'll notice after you have submitted at least one portal filing that has been submitted by the organization and has been approved by our office, some of the information, specifically on this first section of the organization information, some of this will auto-populate on your next filing. And because there's some information that is unlikely to change year to year, and so there will be some auto-population. If you do need to change anything that is auto-populated, you certainly can do that when you create your filing. But just be aware, you might see a lot of these fields and get kind of nervous that you have to do a ton of fields every year. That's not going to be the case. You will have to do most of the fields because I would say most of the information on the form does change year to year. But we do have that feature. So once you've filed at least 1 year and that filing has been approved and accepted by our office, then you will see that autofill. So if you have to do a couple back filings and you file those like a day or two apart, you're not going to see anything auto-populating because we won't have had time yet to approve that first filing. So the first thing I want to point out is our save and close feature. So once you create an account, you can basically stop working on it whenever you want to. You can enter as much or as little data as you want to at a time. So what that means is if I just start this filing, all I do is enter the address for my organization, and then I get interrupted, or I remember I had a meeting I had to go to, you just have to save and close. So at the bottom of each section, we have the option to either go to the next section or to save and close. So if I select save and close, it's going to take a couple seconds, and then the filing is going to close, and it's going to bounce me back to our main Form PC page. So all I entered was one piece of information, but I can go back to that at any point. I could enter just the address. I could enter 80% of the filing. I can enter as much or as little as I want, and then I can use that save and close function. So once it bounces me back to our search page, I'm going to again put in the AG number 080000 for our Golden Retriever Rescue. And this is the page we were just on where we had one filing in progress. And now you can see we have 2 in progress filings. So we had the one that I already had started here, the 2023 filing, and then the one that we just started and entered only that one little bit of info is now here in progress as well. So what I'm going to do now is go to the one I had started earlier. When you log in and you have an in progress filing, when you want to go back to it, and add to it, you just want to click on where it says click to edit. And it looks like a little pencil. And you're going to click on that. And it's going to bring you back to that form PC, and it's going to have all the info that you did already enter is going to be saved in there. So you can see this filing I entered a lot more info than we had on the last one. And that is mostly because it is very boring to watch a demo of all of this stuff being entered. But you can see the red asterisks are marking required fields. And to navigate through the different parts of the form PC, you can hit the next button, or you can navigate using just clicking on the different sections over here on the left side. So there are a lot of what we call dynamic fields on this form PC. And let's see, here's a good example. So we have a section for restricted funds, and we ask, have any restrictions been removed during the year from donor restricted funds? Here I've said no to both of these. So it's very simple. It's just yes, no. Those are the only questions in this section. If I answer yes, it's going to open up another field and ask for an explanation. So that's what we mean when we say dynamic fields. It means that we're not kind of cluttering up the screen with extra fields that you don't need to see. So if you say no to that question, we're not even going to show you those fields that you might need to fill in. And it's the same for pretty much all of the yes or no questions. We have a lot of those. And if you say yes to a question, it's going to open up another field, another window, not another window, excuse me, just another field so that you can give us more information. So there's a lot of those. This form does seem maybe a little bit overwhelming at first because of the amount of questions that we ask, but they are all going to be relevant to you because we just need to know yes or no. And if you say yes to a question, then we're going to ask you for more info. So you can see sometimes it's a lot more info that we need. If you have any related organizations, for example, it's going to open up a lot more fields. So you will only see the fields that you need to see. And a good example of that is our solicitation data. If your organization is not one that solicits funds from the public, this section, the solicitation data, is going to be very limited. It's a very clean view that you have. There's not a lot of questions. But if you answer yes to the question of during the year reported here or during the year following the year reported here, will your organization solicit contributions? If you say yes, and you do not claim the exemption for that, you're going to get a whole bunch more questions. We want to know, okay, great. What type of solicitation are you going to be doing? What are the methods of solicitation? Do you use any professionals? So all of this information that you might need to fill in is only going to apply if you actually say yes to these certain questions. So I'm going to leave these as no, that we don't solicit, just because it makes it a little bit easier for the demo purposes. You will also notice throughout the different sections, there are some times where we need attachments for things. So like on this screen, we needed an attachment of the names, titles, and addresses of individuals authorized to sign checks. I already included a lot of those, again, just to save time for the demo. And one of the things that I want to show you here is in the financial data section. This is where you're going to provide us with the financial data for the organization. And in particular, you really want to make sure that you are reporting correctly to us the amount of gross support and revenue that your organization has. This specific number determines a lot of what we need from your group. It's going to determine the filing fee. It's going to determine whether we need an IRS 990, and it's going to determine whether or not we need a financial statement. So you want to really make sure that that information that you're providing us is correct. And I'm going to just show you this section here. This is where you would upload your federal revenue statement, which would be the IRS, and also where you would upload the financial statement. So whether that's a review or an audit. If your organization has under $200,000 in revenue, we don't need a financial statement. If you're between $200,000 and $500,000, we're going to need a CPA review. And above $500,000, we're going to need audited financial statements. And those would be uploaded here. Further up here, we have the information about the IRS form. And this section is really important. If the gross support and revenue is under $25,000, we don't need any IRS form attached. So for you smaller groups out there, we don't really need any of these finance related attachments. So that would be the 990 or a financial statement. So, but this is where you would upload those. And a very, very, very important thing to note is when you are uploading your IRS form 990, 990EZ, 990PF, you want to make sure that no Schedule B is attached and nothing else that shouldn't be in public view is attached. Schedule B is the main thing that we see from organizations. Schedule B of the 990, for those who may not realize, does contain donor information, and we don't want that to be public record. So this is, at the moment, actually one of the biggest reasons that we are sending filings back for corrections to people is because Schedule B is being included with the form, which it should not be. So you can see we do mention here a couple times that Schedule B should not be included, but you just want to really make sure when you go to upload your 990 that you're not including Schedule B. And so uploading the files will work the same way as what we saw with the registration form, but you're just going to click from your documents wherever you have that stored. You also can drag and drop files if that's easier for you, and it will just take a second. And then it will let you know when it's done. The longer the form is, it might take 8 or 10 seconds instead of 2 seconds if you have a really short document. I know 990s can get very long for certain organizations. So just give it a few seconds and it will upload. And you can tell that it's been uploaded because it will show upload document or whatever you have that titled as. So you just want to make sure that you're answering all the questions as you go through. And we are going to go right now to the reviewers data section. Okay, so reviewers data is very important. And this kind of goes back to the dynamic fields that I was mentioning. So in the solicitation data where we've indicated, no, we don't solicit funds, and you want to make sure to answer correctly for both of these questions, because one question refers to the year that you're reporting on, one refers to the year coming up. If you answer that yes, you are going to be soliciting in the year upcoming, that's basically you telling us that your organization needs what we call a certificate for solicitation. And that's just a document that you get from our office that says this group is in compliance and they can solicit funds from the public. So these questions specifically are letting us know what reviewer data we need from your organization, or at least partially is letting us know that. Because if a group needs a solicitation certificate, we do need 2 people to sign off on that. We need 2 signatories in order to issue a certificate. If a group is not soliciting and does not request a certificate for solicitation, only 1 signatory is required for the form. So what we're going to ask you here in this reviewers data section is, first, we're going to ask you, are you the preparer and authorized signatory who is authorized to sign this form under pains and penalties of perjury? So that's an important question, because if I'm filing for a group that does not solicit and I am, say, the president or the treasurer of the group and I am an authorized signatory, nobody else is going to need to touch this form. I'm going to be the only one signing off on this form and able to submit the form. If it's a situation where the group does solicit, even if I am an authorized signatory, I'm going to need to name one other person to also sign off on that to make the 2 different signatories. So the solicitation questions, in combination with the information we gather here from the reviewers data section, is going to tell us who needs to sign off on this form. So in this case, I have indicated that no, my group does not solicit. And here I am going to indicate that I am not an authorized signatory. So what that is going to tell the system is that I need to name one other person to sign off on this form. So I say, no, I'm not an authorized signatory. So what you should remember right now is that I am signed in as Form PC filer. That's the email I'm on. And so I need to provide the email address, the name and email address of an authorized signatory that is not me. So I, PC Form Filer or Form PC Filer, am going to name Amy Bryson as a reviewer. And I'm going to use the email amyfilingportal@gmail.com. And so what's going to be important is, this goes back to, I touched on this earlier, whatever email address is provided by the filer on this section, in the reviewer data section, the reviewer must create their portal account and log into the portal account with this same email address. So I might be someone who's using Amy filing portal at gmail.com, but I might also have a Yahoo address that's amyfilingportal@yahoo.com. If I have the e-filer put this Gmail address here, but then I create my portal account under my Yahoo address, when I log into that portal account with Yahoo, there's going to be no filing there for me to review because the filing is listed under this email address. So it's really important to put the correct email. But luckily, we do have a feature that would allow you to correct a mistake. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put a Yahoo address right now. Instead of putting the Gmail address, I'm going to put amyfilingportal@yahoo.com. And I'm going to, next, the e-filer does have to put their name on here as well. So I'm going to say, this is correct to my knowledge, and then I'm going to submit the form. And it's going to take just a second. And if I realize after I send this, I talk to my client, say I'm a CPA. I talk to my client and I say, okay, Amy, I submitted the filing for your review. I put, amyfilingportal@yahoo.com for your email address. And then my client says to me, oh, I don't use that email address anymore. I haven't used that for years. I'm on Gmail now. So now I'm the e-filer and I need to go in and change that email address. I basically want to get that filing back from what we call awaiting signature, would be the sort of status of it. And I need to get that filing back. I need to change that information and make sure it gets to the correct email address. So what I'm going to do is what we call recalling the filing. So I'm going to log in to under the Manage Form PC section. I enter the AG number. I make sure I have the correct group, Golden Retriever Rescue. And now we have that same screen that we saw earlier. And I have the in progress filing, which is the one we started just a little bit ago, where I entered just one piece of info. And then we have this Form PC filing that we just completed. And you can see the difference here is that one of those filings is in progress and this one is awaiting signature. So this is the one that I just put the wrong email address on. So what I need to do is recall this filing and correct that information. So you can see here on the first filing, it says click to edit, whereas on this filing, which is awaiting signature, it says click to recall. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on the recall button. And this is going to give me the ability to edit this filing again. So what you need to do is you need to select needs corrections and then recall. So now it has been successfully recalled. And what I need to do is, again, go to my manage annual filing section. And now it will be available for me to edit the same way it was previously. So you do have to, is a two-step process where you have to do the recall part first, and then you go back in and you do the edit. So it's not all at the same time. So again, this is why I mentioned we really want to have that AG number handy, because we might need it several times throughout the process, depending on, if we need to do recalls and edits and things like that. So now you can see here, both of our filings are listed as in progress rather than one of them being awaiting signature like it was before. So I'm going to go in, click to edit, and I'm going to change the email address that I entered for my client. So I'm going to go to reviewers data, and I'm just going to change this email from Yahoo to Gmail. Take out that extra period. So now we have, this is going to Amy Bryson at amyfilingportal@gmail.com. Perfect. So then I just have to reaffirm my name here, PC filer, and I'm going to hit submit. And so what's going to happen now, now that I've entered the correct email address for my client, is that my client is going to get an email letting them know that this signature is, the filing is waiting for their signature. Just again, going to close out some of these extra windows that I have open. Okay. So that filing has been submitted for signature. And I need to make sure that I'm in the right email actually for the reviewer. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm gonna go, here we go. Okay, that's the one where I'm signed in as Amy. So I get this email as the reviewer of the filing from charities. And these all come from a no reply address. So you do want to make sure when you're doing a filing, or if you're a signatory and you're kind of expecting that you're going to see this, you want to make sure to check your junk folder because sometimes no reply emails do kind of get filtered there. So you're going to get this email if you are a reviewer, and it's going to say Form PC filing for 2023 for Golden Retriever Rescue has been submitted or updated and is waiting for your review. Please navigate to the portal through this link to review the filing. So if you have one reviewer or two reviewers, either way, they will all get that. And we want to make sure I do have my two different accounts saved in here. So now I am no longer Form PC reviewer. I am now Amy, the signatory of this form. So I'm logging in with those credentials, making sure that I use my Gmail account rather than my Yahoo account. And when I log in, the process is going to look very similar to what the e-filer saw at first anyway. So I'm going to navigate to the Form PC section. I'm going to go to Manage Annual Filing. I'm going to enter my AG number. And I'm going to find the form that is awaiting signature. So you can see it's in a section that says submitted filings for your review and signature. So what's going to happen for this person who is the signatory, they are not going to be able to edit this filing. So you can see here, instead of saying click to edit, which is what we saw earlier when we were the e-filer, now we're going to see this button that says click to review. So we're going to be able to view all of the data and attachments that our e-filer included, but we're not going to be able to change any of that data. So the first thing that we see here is where it says click here to view PC data, and then we see supporting documents. So these are all of the documents that I uploaded. So if you want to view those, you would just download those to view. And if you want to see the Form PC data, which is basically all of those things that we entered into fields. So not the attachments, but the actual fields that we filled out. That's what all of this is. So we're seeing all of the questions that we answered, address, contact person, and it even does show the sections that we didn't have to answer. So like we indicated that we don't solicit funds, but it does show those fields just as blank. So it might look like there's a ton of data showing, but you can see a lot of it is not necessarily answered because you answered no to certain questions. So right here, you can see no answer, and then there's all these blank fields. So it is still going to show you all the fields that were that are in the portal, but it's just not going to make you, there's just not going to be answers for those. For our financial data, you can see, the specific numbers we put in. So all of this is here for review. So any signatory who has to review this information is expected to actually go through and make sure that the information is correct. And then I went through that a little bit quick, but you want to just click on at the top where it says close window. That's going to take you out of that screen. You also can print this page if you want to. Say you have, if you want to show this to the whole board, even though just you are the reviewer, but you want to show it to a few other people in the group, you're welcome to do that. You can print that. Or if you want to save it for your own records, whatever you want. You wouldn't need to because it is all preserved on the portal, but if you wanted to, you could print this. So then you just hit close window, it takes you back to the screen, and you're able to view all of these filings. These are all just my dummy uploads, so they're not anything really worth even opening, but reviewers should do that. They should make sure that the attachments are correct. So then you have two different options in this section here at the bottom of your screen. You can either accept the filing, mark it as accepted, or you can indicate that it needs corrections. So for instance, say I look through the attachments and I realize that my CPA on my 2024 filing accidentally uploaded the 2023 990. So I need to let that CPA know that. I would say that this filing needs corrections, and then I would submit that back for corrections, which would open that filing back up to the e-filer. So when they log into the portal and go to the manage PC section, they would find that that filing available to be edited and have changes made to it. It is really important to note that the communication between a reviewer and the e-filer does need to happen offline. There is no way for you to, within the portal, let that e-filer know what is wrong with the filing. So you would indicate that it needs corrections, and then you would either shoot an email or a text or a call or, yell into someone's office next door, whatever the case might be. Just let that e-filer know, hey, you uploaded the wrong 990, or hey, you forgot to, when you put our gross support and revenue, you forgot that last big donation that we got. And maybe that pushes you over into needing a larger filing fee, or, whatever the case might be. Any changes that need to be made, you need to communicate that between the reviewer and the e-filer. If you have no problems and you think the form looks great, you want to accept it, you select accepted from this dropdown, and then you just click this button. And this is you signing under pains and penalty of perjury. The Form PC has always been signed under pain and penalty of perjury. And just the way we do that now is basically this checkbox. And because with the account that you created, you've indicated that, you are who you say you are, Amy Bryson with this email address, and you're making that declaration. So once you do that, you would just hit submit. And now there's one final step, which would be making the payment for the filing. So the email letting you know that you need to make the payment will go to the e-filer, and it will also go to any reviewers that are listed. So this here is the e-filer email that I'm in. And so we just get this email that says a Form PC for fiscal year 2023 has been approved by all signatories and is now pending payment. And so we see that exact same email in our reviewers email. And it tells you in that email what the payment amount is going to be. So here it's $35. And it gives you a link to the portal because, again, we need to be in the portal to make our payment. So we're just going to click on that link, which is going to bring us back to the portal. And so it doesn't matter who makes the payment. It could be the e-filer, it can be the signatory, it could even be another person related to the group. Say the president of the organization is the signatory, but the treasurer wants to make the payment. That's fine. The treasurer should, might have their own portal account that they're using to sign into, and that's fine. So it doesn't have to be limited to the named people on the form. And especially with large charities, there might be multiple people involved, and the people signing off are not necessarily the people making the payment. So when I went through that a little bit quickly. So let me just go back. From the main homepage, we've mostly been interacting with the annual charity filing section, which is the top section. But to make any payments, you want to scroll down to the third section, which is the payment section. So even though it is in relation to the Form PC, any payment that you're going to make is specifically in the payment section. It's not going to be in the Form PC section. So once you click on that, again, we have a very familiar screen where we're asking for the AG number for the group. And so we put in our Golden Retriever Rescue AG number. And then here it's going to show you any payments that are outstanding. So for instance, here we just have the $35 filing fee, and it's for fiscal year 2023. If this was an instance where I was a new registration and I had just registered and I was told that I needed to submit a year of back filing, then in this section, I would probably see the two payments. I would see the $100 initial registration fee, and then I would also see the Form PC filing fee. So you could see more than one fee in here. That would really just apply to the new organizations. But once you verify the payment is in here, then you just want to click on here where it says click to pay. And this is going to take you out of the portal into our third-party filer, our third-party payment processor. So they are a company that's called NCourt. You'll see that here in the URL. They also go by the name Catalyst. I believe they're in kind of influx with their name, or they're changing the name. But it will tell you at the top of the page. It does have the Attorney General info. It tells you here at the top, there is a convenience fee if you pay with a credit card. We have two different payment options. You can pay either by credit card or by electronic check or ACH transfer. So you can see up here, it's going to tell you the fee is $35 and there is a convenience fee of 82 cents. And so the total would be $35.82. That is specifically when you pay with a credit card. If we switch to electronic check, you'll see, we'll go back to this pop-up in a second, but you can see if we select ACH transfer, that convenience fee goes away, and now you're just paying the flat $35 fee. Also, when we change to ACH transfer, you will get this pop-up, which is going to tell you that you may need to give your bank the NCourt originator ID code. And that basically just means that your bank is going to know that NCourt is an authorized entity to deduct money from your account. So not every bank account needs the originator ID, but it certainly can't hurt to let your bank know this originator ID number that's going to pop up anytime you select ACH transfer. Because sometimes if you don't give them that ID and let them know that NCourt is an authorized entity to pay, then the check might bounce. The digital check might bounce. So then you just want to, everyone's made online payments for things at this point, so you should be familiar roughly with how this works. I'm not going to actually make a payment because it is just a demo, but you can see the screen changes a bit for credit card versus ACH. For the credit card, we're asking for the number, CVV code, and with the electronic check, we need routing number and things like that. So we also need the payer's info in the billing information section. It will fill in here. It fills in the email that you use to sign into the portal. So that will fill in there. And it lets you know how the transaction will appear on your statement. And that is pretty much it. Once you make that payment, then the filing is ready to actually be submitted. And it will submit automatically. You will get an email about that. I don't believe I have a sample of that because typically with the demo, we kind of do stop at the payment section. So I don't have an email to show you for that, but it's just going to be an email letting you know that your submission has been received. An important thing to keep in mind once you do submit is, like I said, all of our filings, even though we're using the portal now, the review of these filings is not automated in any way. It's our staff that has always been reviewing things back even when they were on paper. So do give us a little bit of grace. It does take some time for us to review all of the filings. But you will hear from us if there are any issues with the filing. We will let you know what the problems might be. Did you forget an attachment? Anything like that. We will let you know. All the communication is done by email now. And if you need to make any changes to your filing, you would do that all through the portal. You just log into the portal and edit the filing. So you will hear from us, whether it's that you are getting a certificate that you requested, or if there's a problem with your filing, you'll hear from us either way. So that is pretty much it. Again, please do use the resources that we have here on our website. Obviously, the fact that you're watching this demo is important. It means that you are using resources, but if you need any refreshers, anything like that, I do recommend the section here that has our training videos and FAQs and instructions, all that. So do avail yourself of the resources that we have. and we are happy to help you at any time. So happy filing, everybody. Thank you.